Electors by Heidi. So we're going to be learning what the Electoral College is. So we're going to be learning about electors in USA because in other countries they do elections different. So let's give an example. So let's say there's two candidates, candidate A and candidate B. And this is the United States of America and each state. And let's say in this example, we all live in Idaho. So these are how many electors are in each state. Because you don't know what electors is, you don't have to understand any of these numbers. Just remember that Idaho has 6 electors. So now this is how your vote goes through the election. So your vote gets mixed up with your state's votes. Then the state amongst themselves counts the votes in their state, and whoever has more wins in that state. So over here we could see that President A has more votes in the state, so she won in the state. So now this is where the electors come in. Electors are normal people, but they don't play a normal role in the election. So remember how Idaho had 6 electors? Well, over here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electors. And so basically, let's look at this graph one more time. Well, actually, let me tell you a bit more about electors. Electors represent your state. So whoever won in your state, they all represent that candidate. So if we here look at this again, we could see how different states have different electors. One second. And if you notice this, that bigger states have more electors and smaller have less, but the least amount you could have is 2. And yeah, so and the least you can have is 2. And the biggest over here in the United States is 55 in California. And the reason why they have different numbers is because if there's 55 electors in California and there's like, let's say 2 million people in California, then those 2 million people control only 55. But then if a smaller state, let's only say if there's like 2 people in that state and they control 55, that wouldn't be fair. Those 2 people are way more powerful. And then you could get into ratios where you could see how fair it is. But we're not going to get into that right now. Okay, so back to the example. So there's 2 stages of an election. The first stage is basically you, and you vote in your state, and your state counts it out. And then the second stage is basically the electors vote, and the electors vote in the second stage, which is basically the same, but they vote over the whole country. Because like you only vote in your state, but then the electors, depending on who won in the state, vote against the whole country's electors. So now let's think like a candidate. So if you were a candidate, what what states would you like to vote for you? Well, of course you would want all of the states to vote for you, but if you had to focus on some, which one would you focus on? Well, I would focus on California because California has 55 electors, and if most people in California vote for me, then I have already 55 electors, and that's a lot compared to the other states. And Texas too has 38 because they're the biggest states. So, also one other thing is if let's say a little more than half of the people vote for President A in California, and just a little bit less than that vote for President B. So would some electors go to President B and some go to President A? No, all of the electors go to President A because President A has the overall thing. So basically, the winner in the state takes all the electors. And but there are a few states, just like a few, that don't apply to those rules. They have different rules for electors. Okay, so let's go through the process one more time. Each person here, all the people in your state vote. And let's say if this is your overall vote, then your overall vote, the electors will have to vote for in the second round. Then you count all the electors, and then whoever has more, the president won. I mean, the candidate won and becomes president. So that is electors.